right now because I'm still really good. Sorry. Okay, actually, I don't need this yet. Alright. So, okay, safety then. Today I'll be doing my presentation introducing the most famous graffiti artist that provokes outrage yet inspires admiration at the same time. I'll introduce him through a quote. He says, "The time of getting fame for your name on its own is over. Artwork that is only about wanting to be famous will never make you famous. Any fame is a byproduct of making something that means something. You don't go to a restaurant and order a meal because you want to take a crap." This person's name is Banksy. I myself am a fan of graffiti and have dabbled in it. I found him through the internet maybe a year ago, and at the same time I've seen that many people in the UK have been researching for this artist. I've been searching for this artist for years, whether to arrest him or to get his autograph. Writers part of the Mail on Sunday believe that they have identified Banksy after a year-long investigation. I'm sure many of us have passed by graffiti on the freeway, alleys, subways, stations, online, and everywhere. Maybe a few of us do ourselves. From his art to his own identity, Banksy has been a controversy. Today I'll be reintroducing one of my favorite graffiti artists, describing his artwork and how it has been spread throughout the United Kingdom and the United States. First off, is this artist a one-man show or collective artist, therefore not existing at all? Investigators have revealed that his birth name is Robin Gunningham. He was born on July 27, 1973 in Bristol, England. After finishing his general certificate of secondary education at age 16, he left school to pursue his passion for graffiti art. Banksy is well known on the walls of London, Brighton, Bristol, and West. Crap. Is that okay to see? Yeah.
I'd turn the light out.
And the West Bank barrier separating Israeli and Palestinian wall, like this painting right here. Yeah. He has gone through extremes with his subversive graffiti and countercultural pranks, yet has been able to keep his anonymity. He even quotes himself saying, I'm just trying to make the pictures look good. I'm not into trying to make myself look good. I'm not into fashion. The pictures generally look better than I do when we're on the street together. So then let's look at some of the art that he uses to mask his face. There's another one. Banksy is well known for his compelling stencil graffiti, after often creating photorealistic pieces that give context and responses to social controversies with humor and slogans. His messages are typically anti-war, anti-capitalism, and anti-establishment, subjects including rats, policemen, children, monkeys, soldiers, and the elderly. For example, looking at this painting, Banksy is projecting the need of anarchy through the picket sign and the medallion right there hanging around the rat's neck. He uses the rat as his messenger for this drawing because it represents the lower classmen. Images like that are labeled as unconventional, a mockery of higher establishments. And yet, how do we find his work in museums, auctions, or the internet? He answered this question himself, saying, "Here's a mystery for you. Renegade urban graffiti artist Banksy, clearly a guffhead of massive proportion, yet he's often feted as a genius straddling the bleeding edge of now. Why? Because his work looks dazzlingly clever to idiots, and apparently that'll do." Banksy is notoriously known for putting up his own pieces in museums around the world. For example, he managed to sneak in and install a fake prehistoric cave painting in the British Museum. This piece went unnoticed for days and was later added to the museum's permanent collection. However, Banksy is not the only one to contribute to his fame. Stars like Angelina Jolie, Christina Aguilera, and Keanu Reeves have bought his pieces for up to $500,000 apiece. Another way people get a hold of his pieces is by stealing it themselves from museums, only to be sold for their own profit. Due to that, Banksy has his own website, banksy.co.uk/shop, that sells his work for free and has published a few books with pictures of his pieces. And so the story of the Scarlet Pimpernel of modern art goes. Today I've introduced you to a man on the edge of fame and arrest, exposed you to some of his artwork, and enlightened you on how his work has been spread around. As his closing statement, a quote by Banksy says, "The Holy Grail is to spend less time making the picture than it takes people to look at it."
So Stephanie, what did you think?
I think she did a pretty good job. Her thesis statement at the beginning was very clear. Also, her introduction was pretty attention-grabbing. I thought her strong points were her supportive material about her topic. The quotes that she had from him was pretty good. The only thing her visual speech were good. I mean, her visual aids were good as well because it really showed his artwork. But the only thing I didn't really like was that she read from the paper. Other than that, she did a really good job.
All right. Yeah, I think the quote that you have at the beginning would be better if you just went into the quote instead of kind of identifying that you're going into the quote. The topic is very clearly identified. Thesis is pretty good, but you have a very good preview. On the development of the content, whenever you're quoting Banksy, I get a quote. But there's a lot of stuff that I'm getting that I'm pretty sure is somebody else's work that you are not quoting. For instance, I'm not sure, you know who the Scarlet Pimpernel is? All right, so you're using that phrase, somebody else wrote that, and that's not being attributed. Same thing with a guff head. There's another phrase there where that's quoted material that is not cited. And then earlier you had this long description of what Banksy, kind of defining his work and describing his work, and it sounds to me like it's somebody else's definition or description of his work as opposed to your definition or description, and it's not being cited. And that not being cited is really problematic because that's the kind of stuff where people are cutting and pasting together a presentation instead of making an organic piece of work, and so that's a little bit of a problem. You've got to be very careful about that. That's the creeping plagiarism thing that we warned people about, so you got to be careful. On the visual materials, I thought the images were large enough to see. I think you kind of rush by the explanation on the first one that makes it more interesting. On the second one, you do talk about it quite a bit. I do think that you probably need some of the more well-known ones as illustrations and maybe a few additional points to show how ubiquitous or how important Banksy's work is in a variety of places. I'm not sure that the two images that you picked there, I mean the one definitely I think conveys the idea, the first one with the color image of the beach on the other side of the wall. But like I said, I think you rushed the context on that. And I know you're not feeling well, and that's one of the reasons you're a little script dependent and kind of just trying to get through it. So we're not going to worry too much about that right now. But those are the things that I'd watch for next time. All right. Go away and infect no one.